Hello, good evening. My name is Veronica Karaman. I am a peak performance coach and, and also a golf professional. And the reason I'm sharing this video with you is that Michael McGowan is one of my students. And I know that he is qualifying for the Corn Ferry Tour in a little over a month. Today I had a coaching session with him. And as we were discussing his preparations to be successful this year in qualifying, we got into a discussion about how there are many others out there, like you perhaps, who is bent on qualifying, being successful this year, whether it's the Corn Ferry Tour or some other tour sometime in the near future. And as a peak performance coach for, oh my gosh, really for the length of my career, 40 years, a good 20 in kind of focusing mainly on competitive golfers, I've come to realize that the most important thing that you can do to prepare for that success is not to have a perfect golf swing, but it is to understand what peak performance is, what the components of it, how it happens, and to have a framework of thought for your mind so that you can go from what I call a general focus to a laser focus in your preparation. I just happened to qualify for the Senior Women's US Open. I won the qualifier. I maybe have played 10 rounds of golf this year and had some tremendous physical problems with arthritis and pain, and I won the qualifier. Now, how do you do that? I believe it was through my system of being able to create what's called an ideal performance state, which is a mental emotional state of calm concentration and the ability to remove all distractions so that you can be totally 100% emotionally and mentally present for what is before you. And so it's a misnomer to think that most of your preparation is simply going to be in the physical zone. And so as we spoke about this and spoke about what would prepare him in the greatest way for success, one of the things we discussed was to create what I'm calling a qualifiers club. Golf is very individualistic, but the components, the dynamics, the preparations, the processes are not unique to you as an individual. They're pretty much across the board. And part of the struggle and the challenge of being fully prepared for that qualifier is to do what needs to get done every day so that you can look back and say, I'm ready, I'm prepared. And so I wanted to just take a few minutes to share with you a little bit about my coaching through Champion Academy, and to invite you into a 6 to 8 week program where you would receive individual coaching, one-on-one with me, largely by Zoom, and then also a group community weekly check-in, and some of the things would probably be daily over text for accountability purposes. So in order to release potential, you not only need the knowledge of what you want to do, but you actually have to do it. And in coaching, it's called offering SEA, support, encouragement, and accountability to get the job done. So I'm going to briefly just share with you my process, a few results, and invite you into the Qualifiers Club. And I'll share a little bit more about that with you. So I'm going to just share my screen with you. And you can see here what I refer to as the champion's way system to peak performance. And there is a system. And any good coach will help you to take apart the components of peak performance, because peak performance has components. And there's actually 4 components or zones to peak performance. One is the physical, the other is the mental, the third is the emotional, and the fourth is the spiritual. So peak performance happens from a place of being fully engaged, which is to be physically energized, mentally focused, emotionally connected, and spiritually aligned. And the key is to find a process in each one of those zones and do them concurrently, and that's when you take a leap. So what good is it if you have great swing mechanics but no focus? Or you have great swing mechanics and focus, but you get mad after a shot? Or you have all those 3 things, but you don't believe in yourself? And so for you to be fully prepared for your qualifier, you've got to identify what your processes are, how you're going to put them into practice, and how you're going to do them concurrently. I call this creating success from the start. And so I'd like to invite you into the Qualifiers Club to learn this system, to activate it, because it really is an activation kind of coaching. I'm going to share something else with you. Let me bring this up. This is like hot off the press today because I wanted to get this out. So here we go. There are 4 processes that you must master, get to a level 10 by your qualifier. 1, you have to move from negative to positive self-talk. Peak performance happens from a totally positive place in your head. You must move from overreactive emotions to calm concentration. The reason why sometimes athletes still struggle is because you know what not to do, but you don't know what to do. You have to have emotional targets as well as physical targets. Number 3, you have to move from over-focus on score to process and presence. If you can release the need to control outcomes, you are well on your way. And number 4, to move from comparison to self-belief. Belief and identity drive everything. And it is so important that you clear the decks from perhaps a past failed qualifier. So you're not taking that negative energy and belief and emotion into your qualifier coming up. This is the work that needs to be done. So I say the number 1 preparation for qualifying is the ability to create and sustain and protect an ideal performance state of calm concentration and the removal of all distractions well before the competition. You know, it's really interesting. When I was preparing for my US Open qualifier, I started a good week out of removing every single distraction, of getting my mind in a position where I was super focused. So by the time I got to the qualifier, I'll never forget it, all of my energy and all of my focus was right before me, was right in front of me. And I knew it was going to happen because I got into that state of being. I've done this for 20 years. I've done it with a zillion people, and I would love to help you. We would love to even get a small group of 5 or 6 of you to key in so that you could all encourage one another, feed off of one another, as well as getting one-on-one coaching from me. And so I want to give you just a couple examples to know that you can take a leap in a very short period of time in your performance. Sorry about that. Let me try again. I love this one. This one is really remarkable. This gal here, her name is Alex. She came to me being able to hit her drives 270 yards, but she had trouble breaking 80 in competition. Took her through the Champions Way system. And in less than 3 weeks' time, she went from struggling to break 80 to 5 under par. Within 6 months, had her regularly shooting in the 60s, and she went on to get a D1 scholarship at a fine school. I'm kind of racing through these, but I want you to see that you can get a quick result when you become fully engaged. This is Cameron Hackman. He came to me as an undeveloped but talented athlete at 14 years old. I asked him what his goal was for the season. He said to win the Montana State High School Championship as a freshman. I worked with him for 7 months. Cameron ended up, took him through the Champions Way. Cameron ended up winning the high school state championship against all the bigger, older boys. I think he shot 67 the last days, had 6 birdies, won by 7 shots. I mean, it was a young David slays Goliath story. And it was all because of the Champions Way and the paradigm of performance that he adopted. I'm going to share one more with you. This is a young man, Seamus Bogan, who, big guy, could hit the ball a long way. I could tell that he was a winner. He wasn't winning. And his main issue was focus. So this is after the first day of a tournament. He shoots 71. I saw that his problem was focus. I said, you talk too much. I said, if you zip it, you'll win tomorrow. And I said, you're a leader. What do leaders do? They lead. So anyways, he caught my drift. The next day he goes out and shoots 62. He finishes 10 under par, not only wins the tournament, best round of his life, but he shoots the all-time low scoring record in the history of that junior tour. And so I want you to see that the power of becoming fully engaged is your secret weapon for your qualifying. So I want to invite you, if this is something that you are interested in, I want to invite you to reach out to me and set up a time to have a Zoom call. It was just an introduction call, and I'll share more about the details of the program. We're going to get started right away. And I'm going to pull up the contact information here. Michael's going to be in it, and we would love for you to be in it. Here we go. And you can reach out to me at veronicakaraman@gmail.com or send me a text, 757-407-1907 this week. Really need to chat with you this week, early next week at the latest. And there's no obligation to reach out to me, but we're going to make this a good 6 to 8 week program. I'll fill in the details with you. Would love to meet you, learn about your goals, and see if it's a fit. And I can share more about the details of the program. So again, my name is Veronica Karaman, and you can reach out to me and email at veronicakaraman, Karaman @gmail.com, or text me, call me, 757-407-1907. My website is truechampionacademy.com, and I would be delighted to help you take a leap in your performance. The US Open, Senior Women's US Open was an incredible experience for me, and I credit a system and a mindset, a holistic mindset that made all the difference. Thank you so much. And Michael and I look forward to seeing you in the Qualifiers Club.